Thank you for tuning in again for the SCLC Today program. I'm so elated to get all of the feedbacks in terms of people watching and actually saying that many of the subjects that we are involved in and getting intrigued with and emotional about, that many of you are feeling the same way, and to continue. And I just want to thank God for that. Dealing with the issues of today that we deal with, politics and civil rights are inseparable. We're not here just for the politics, because we are civil rights, but they're inseparable. And we want you to understand that. We have to deal with the issues of politics as well as the envisionarian aspect of a leadership in terms of civil rights, to envision what we should do to collaborate with politics as well as civil rights. Speaking of politics, President Biden made a commitment to appoint a black female to the U.S. Supreme Court. My. I remember that commitment. And I always had subconsciously wondered, when are we going to get an African-American female on that court in terms of the U.S. Supreme Court? That's very important. And just the other day, he said he's going to keep his commitment. I'm so happy to understand that his mindset is still with the campaign promise of fulfilling in terms of the resignation of none other than Justice Stephen Breyer, who's been there, I think, for about roughly 30 years. Done a great job to a large degree. He's the first to tell you that he wasn't perfect, made some mistakes. But when you deal in the academics or intellectual gymnastics, that's what you're dealing with when you're talking about the U.S. Supreme Court in particular. People get caught up in terms of the academia aspect of their philosophy. But you need to have people who's on the ground, even though they are dealing with the judicial system, and have a feel for common folks. Who was it? Victor Hugo, who said that poor people suffer and have more misery than rich folks have. Listen to me. Humanity. The poor suffer more, have more miseries in their livelihood, in their day-to-day life, than rich folks have humanity. That's why we have to keep the focus on people in power in terms of politics, in terms of corporate America, because rich people don't have the common touch. Most of them. Not all of them, most of them. But we have to keep the laser focus in terms of the misery that we go through from day to day with poor people. We have to make sure that humanity is kept in check in terms of people who are very successful economically. That's why we are here. And speaking of rich and people being in misery and being left out of the quality of life, we're still dealing with Sherwin Williams. Sherwin Williams still refused from the partnership at the top, the managerial level that makes the decision. They are still saying that they are not going to meet with us. But ladies and gentlemen, we are going to meet with them come heaven or high water. I didn't say the other word. Come heaven or high water. We're going to meet with Sherwin Williams. We feel good about that. I'll be going back to Cleveland in a few days, averaging once a week to a large degree now, and going to Cleveland, Ohio. But what I want you to realize is that America has never shared in the profits. Profit sharing is not a part of the DNA of America. It's not a part of the historicity of America. America must be healed. America must be healed. I understand we got domestic terrorists, domestic terrorism going around talking about killing people. These are supposed to be citizens of America who's talking about killing people for their politics philosophy. Ladies and gentlemen, this is not the America that we should have or that we were brought up to believe in, even though we came out of slavery as African Americans. We still had hope that America was the dream for the world and to set the example for the world. Let me close with this. You're talking about democracy. I've been studying what's happening in Ukraine and with the threat of Russia going in to actually start another war and to encompass the country itself of Ukraine. You know why? In my studying, because I've been there. I've been in Moscow, Russia. I met with former President Mikhail Gorbachev and went from there to Kiev, Ukraine. Been there. Beautiful country, beautiful people. But what is going on with the takeover or the contemplation or the concept of none other than Vladimir Putin saying that he wants to take over Ukraine and make it a part of Russia again. The fear is that Ukraine is prospering so successfully that President Putin, Vladimir Putin, think that the people of Russia gonna pay attention to Ukraine that would affect Russia to being a democracy like America and Ukraine. That's what the real fear is. That's why the takeover is being threatened by Putin himself. I asked a question to former President Mikhail Gorbachev. Why does the president himself, Mr. Putin, why does he keep up so much mess all of the time? And he told me that the culture of Russia is that we might fight among ourselves, but outside of Russia, if there's a conflict, we come together. Ladies and gentlemen, I rest my case. Maybe that's why he's still in power, because he's very messy and bloodily. Thank you for watching. We will see you next week. Godspeed upon you, and continue to have the faith.